All right, welcome everyone to Trainer Talk. And this is our kind of special series we host once a month between myself, Julia, and Caroline here, where we bring on people and talk about topics that I think are not being discussed in our industry. And particularly today, we're going to be talking about the differences between career and part-time fitness professionals, specifically personal trainers here. So we have today with us here Maria and Robert, and we'll have them introduce themselves and where they stand full time or part time. Maria, go for it here.
Hey everyone, my name's Maria Pearson and I'm from the Hawke's Bay in New Zealand. In terms of my journey as a personal trainer, before I had my first child, so 18 years ago, I was personal training. And then I had my children, and then about 2015, I came back to personal training again. I did my master's at the University of Otago, and I started teaching as a lecturer at the local, I don't know what you'd call it over there. It's called a Polytech here, an Institute of Technology.
Oh, yeah.
Started teaching recreation and sport students about personal training and also anatomy and physiology to first-year nursing students. And then a couple of years ago, we had the opportunity to take over a women's gym here in Hastings. And so we took on that gym, and I am now really more personal training. I'm not teaching anymore. I'm a personal training, taking group classes, and I'm very much a part-time personal trainer.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you. Robert, download us, man.
Yeah, my name is Robert Bricks Glover. Bricks is a childhood nickname. I am a full-time personal trainer. It started as a weight loss journey for me. I lost 160 pounds about 13 years ago, and I felt almost a moral obligation to share what I learned on that, during that process. So in 2014, I got certified as a personal trainer. I worked at Gold's Gym Hollywood. I worked at the YMCA in Koreatown and there in Los Angeles for 2 years as a one-on-one personal trainer. And then I decided to do the YouTube thing. I posted a video on YouTube, just kind of telling my story, and it went viral. I was getting 1,000 subscribers a day, and we're approaching 850,000 subscribers at this point. And now, I'm a full-time, I have a group coaching program. I do one-on-one coaching. From time to time, I'll pick up personal clients when, my schedule allows. But I am insanely passionate about all things wellness, not just, fitness, but just mind, body, spirit. Because after coaching people specifically in the weight loss space for 13 years, it's not about diet and exercise, as we all know. Like, yes, that's the surface level manifestation of a lot of the things we struggle with internally. So that's what I am super passionate about. And yeah, this is my entire life. So I'm excited to be here having this conversation with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert. That was awesome. And Maria, appreciate it. All right, ladies, you want to kick off a question to these folks here? And for all of us, really, we'll all kind of jump in here,
Yeah. I guess starting with Maria, I'd love to know first, like, what inspired you to get into training, and kind of how you balance now that you've been a trainer, now you're back into it, how you're balancing that with kind of like the rest of your day to day.
Sure. I was always very into sports when I was growing up, and it always just felt like a no-brainer for me that I was going to go and learn how to be a personal trainer. Sure, I loved exercising. I love the competitive side of sports, but I also just love moving my body and feeling strong and getting stronger. And so way back then, like I say, about 18, 19 years ago, it was just about wanting to share my passion for sport and exercise with other people, but also to help people with as we all have, our weaknesses, our fears, our shortfalls, and also our goals, to help them try and achieve their goals that were specific to them, not specific to me, but specific to them. And now, like I say, these years later, since we've taken over the women's gym, and just seeing that need again, that people need that guidance, that inspired me to get back into it. it was just such a good opportunity to take on this gym. And the fact that it's a really niche market with all women only. I don't just have women only clients, I do have guys as well, but predominantly women. Just to help them work on their goals, but also a major focus of my work now is older clients. So I work a lot with probably 60 plus aged people. So to help them with their mobility and fall prevention and trying to keep their bones nice and hard and their muscles nice and strong so they can stay independent and live in their own homes for as long as they can. So that's a massive motivation for me now.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm.
Yeah, that's so cool. I see definitely a trend right now, and I hope it stays because this is one of those good trends that come out of the fitness industry. But that people are training now more so for longevity and kind of that whole 360 wellness and health. And now that you're training people in like their 60s, do you see that trend also in New Zealand, and then on top of that, has it changed the way you teach or train your younger clients?
The one thing that we notice in New Zealand is that there are a lot of retirement villages. So a lot of elder living areas, not where people need care, but just where they want to still live independently, but within a shared community, a safe community for them. So that's what we see, especially in Hawke's Bay here. There's a large population of older people. So there is a bit of a focus here on helping older people to stay fit and strong within their communities. They have classes run there.
Yeah.
And so I take some classes within those retirement villages. And does it help me train my younger clients? Absolutely, because a massive focus is on mobility with younger clients. A lot of people, they say to me, they just want to lift weights and, get strong. But it's like, well, what's going to happen? What can we put in place now for the next 40 years ahead of you that will help to safeguard your health and wellness in the future? So a lot of floor-based exercises, a lot of hip-type movements, shoulder-type movements, and protecting the knees as well. So, yes, even for people in their 20s, 30s as well, which is what I do with the older people. Yeah.
That's
Awesome. Let's talk about the impact in this conversation steered towards how do you measure that impact when you're working part-time versus full-time and doing that? Robert, I would love to hear from you about this, kind of maybe the dichotomy between them.
You said, how do you measure the impact?
Yeah, of working part-time versus full-time and working with people. Is it different, your commitment to it, if you're part-time versus full-time? What do you think?
I've never been a part-time trainer, right? I jumped into the pool on the deep end. So this is less, and I feel like this is true for most trainers, but this is more of a passion-based mission, not to sound, I don't know, too like out there, but it's my life. So, I literally had a call, like I have a group coaching program with 60 clients, and I told them, like, I'm willing to lose sleep. I'm willing to sacrifice weekends. I'm willing to do anything to ensure that you guys have everything you need to be successful, So the impact for me is the number one driver for me. I couldn't imagine, for me personally, a world where this is just something I do on the side, So that's the only frame of reference that I have, honestly. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, that's kind of my view.
Well, it tells your story. I think that's important.
Yeah.
What do you see as a positive impact? Like, how do you measure success with a client? Like, what is the measure of success for you as a trainer?
So my programs are typically not really focused on scale wins, right? It's really, I try to celebrate. Obviously, that's the thing that everyone wants, and that's the thing that's by default we celebrate. But I try to get my clients to pay attention to the energy that they have in the evening to play with their children when they didn't before, right? The stabilization of their emotions and their mood, right? They're sleeping better. They're feeling more rested. They're feeling more confident in their body. Like when I get those sort of reports back, an improvement of their mental health. Like I've had clients who, when they sign on, they're suicidal.
I know.
And after 2 months and they're feeling better physically and they're feeling better mentally, they have a whole new outlook on life. So those are my favorite type of wins to celebrate, right? Yes, obviously I have a whole bunch of clients who lost a whole bunch of weight, and that's cool. I love that stuff. But no one's really signing up to it's not about the weight loss. It's really about who they become. And those are the elements that I like to highlight and celebrate with my clients.
I love that. I think it's so much more impactful than the numbers on the scale or like the quantitative metrics. And it's kind of like that quality of life, kind of like what Maria is working with as well. Like it's can these clients, can they move better? Can they kind of prolong their quality of life for longer? It's so much more than just the weight or like the numbers.
Yeah.
And is your coaching now, are you coaching people to be trainers, or is it like, what is that 60 group coaching? Is that fitness coaching, or is it like kind of career coaching?
Yeah, no, it's fitness coaching. It's fitness coaching. Yeah, I typically work with people who are trying to lose 50 to 100 pounds. And that population is typically, I support them with understanding themselves, understanding the connection between their stress levels and their emotions and the way they eat, right? Giving them tools like journaling. And I have like mindset recordings, and we have a system that helps them understand. And it's a self-love based weight loss coaching program is what I call it. So yeah, it's to support people on their weight loss journeys.
Yeah, then this is going to be a good question for both of you. Just about kind of being a personal trainer and the burnout that comes with it, and if it comes with it. So just to give a little bit of background on kind of my journey, I was a part-time trainer pretty much the entire time that I've been a trainer. I worked in construction. I'm an engineer, and then I worked in software, and Julia and I are now launching our own company. So it's always been a part-time gig for me. And funny enough, when I had an opportunity to be a full-time trainer, I ended up going back to school for software engineering. So I don't know why, I just like doing a lot of things all at once. But I definitely felt a lot of burnout because, and I think this kind of ties perfectly into passion and mission and vision, but everything that I was doing on the side before starting this company with Julia, but everything prior to that I was doing on the side that wasn't fitness, it was not related to fitness, but it was like, it will get me to where I want to be later. And so me going back to school for software engineering doesn't have a direct correlation to being a personal trainer, but I was like, I need this so I can build my app for personal training type of thing. But I felt major burnout in those areas because I was like, 80% of my day is not being dedicated to what my passion and vision and mission is. So I'm curious on how you're both at it full time now. Is there that element of burnout, or like, and how does that relate to like the passion that you have for it? Does it kind of push it away? Anything like that?
Well, I'm part-time. I'm a part-time trainer.
Oh,
so
sorry.
That's right. I'm a part-time trainer. So I think a lot of it is about balance. So while we have the gym is full on, right? You're at the gym, you're dealing with doing classes, dealing with clients. So that's on one hand, I'm doing my one-on-one personal training sessions as well. But then there's life outside of that. And I think I need that as a trainer. So 3 kids, 3 teenagers, that keeps things busy as well and balanced. And I have to find time for my own workouts in the day. And there's just a lot of life going on as well. I don't necessarily notice that burnout side of things as well, but maybe that's why that balance helps, having other things in my life that take a focus off me for my clients, and then a focus off my clients so I can focus on myself and my life. But it does also, being part-time, open up opportunities to embark on other areas. So I've just finished a life coaching qualification. So that's another strand of my coaching business that I've brought in. So that could increase the levels towards burnout potentially when I start doing more of that with clients. But no, I think having that balance makes a big difference for me. It helps to just keep things on a level playing field. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
think that's
these. I
awesome.
love where this is going. This is so awesome. Uh, I'll get some background too. Is that Maria, before we got on, I remember she was like, "Are we going to learn about you guys and what you're doing?" So it was great that Caroline shared that about
Yeah.
herself. I love that. And Robert, like you, I've been full time my entire career. I've been almost 25 years now, but I made a large change because I kind of identify more with the part time mentality, even though I have been full time with it. I think back in 2017, I switched to all live virtual training. So that's 100% of my clientele now. And it made me feel like I was part time, even though I'm working full time, so that I could
Yeah.
do a bunch of other things that I wanted to do in my life that literally had nothing to do with fitness, also well being, or some of them for that. But I think it's an interesting thing of why people want to do full time or part time. Do and I want to ask this question: do you ever think there's any stigma, let's say, Robert, from full time trainers about why someone would be part time in the business? Do you ever heard that conversation at all?
No, no. Personally, I haven't. You know, I think fitness is a passion. We're not, for the most part, becoming millionaires training people.
Right.
So most of the time, it's the heart of the person that gets them involved. So whether that's on a part-time basis or full-time basis, I'm just grateful that people are willing to support people in their journeys to the healthiest versions of themselves. So yeah, no, I've never really heard of a stigma around part-time.
Do you think so? You pretty much the first time you posted on YouTube, it went viral. What was, and I feel like that's like a sign from the universe, like this is it. And I'm sure everyone that viewed the video like felt the authenticity behind it and the passion and the mission. But I'm curious, did you have plans to be completely full time prior to that like viral video?
No, to be honest, no. I never intended to be in the fitness industry at all. I was 360 pounds.
Yeah.
Obese, you know, diabetes, high blood pressure. Like I didn't even like to walk outside when it was hot, you know? So the idea that I ended up a full-time trainer is so insane to me. So no, that wasn't my plan, but you know, what did they say? We make plans and God laughs at us,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. You know, this was the mission, and yeah, I'm grateful for sure, but it definitely wasn't a part of the vision originally. I thought I was going to be a rapper.
Very different.
It's definitely a different pathway.
That's
What was the
awesome.
rap name gonna be? I gotta know.
No, Bricks. I mean, I've always been
Just
Bricks
Bricks?
since I was a kid.
I
Yeah,
like that. I like that.
I'm from New York City. That's since I was 7 years old. I was called Bricks, so that was my rap name.
That's awesome. That's
That's
amazing.
amazing. Oh man, crazy.
Wow.
Julie, I'd love to hear your story. You know, it's funny. I know these two ladies, but I don't think I learned a lot about Caroline right here. Julia, is yours similar or different in terms of part time work, full time?
Similar in that it was always part-time, but my stint as a trainer was much shorter than Caroline's. I got certified last January, so was that 2024 January, and I worked in a gym part-time for like 8 months or so. And I didn't really know where I was going with it. I knew that fitness was a passion. I didn't have plans at the time to go full-time, but that's not to say like I never would have gotten to that point. Like I think fitness is something I really cared about, and helping people was something I really cared about. So I think I would have leaned more into it over time. But after those 8 months, that's when Caroline and I met, and we started the company together. So I haven't really had time to kind of go into the training side as much. But it's definitely like we're all saying, like fitness is a passion for me, and helping other people on their fitness journeys, like whatever way that looks, is still a passion of mine. So I wouldn't say I'm like a full-time trainer, obviously, but like full-time in the business of helping people through fitness. Like that's never going to change. So I think that's like something that I feel like maybe part-time trainers, full-time trainers, like we all kind of share that. At least it sounds like Maria and Robert, you both share that. It's really about like the helping people side of it and the impact you can make, as opposed to like the time commitment, like that's not really the measure of like how successful of a trainer you are. It's really about like, even if you help one person, I think if you're doing good in that way, then you're doing good.
Yeah, that's such a good. I love that. Nice, Julia. But that made me think, like, I guess in part-time versus full-time, when I was kind of doing all my other side gigs and doing personal training, I've done both group fitness and I've done online personal training and I've done in-person personal training. And I never hit a point with my clients because I truly never wanted to get to a point where I was like, this is too much. I can't care for like all these clients. So I always like made sure I was never at that maximum. But I'm curious, with being full-time and then also Maria, with your being part-time, how did you find that balance of like, how many clients can I take on before this gets too much?
For me, it was a lot of trial and error. So to speak directly to the burnout piece, for the first 7 years of my career, I've been in this industry now since 2014. So for the first 7 years, there was a lot of burnout because I hadn't learned the art of delegation. And I also had this one man band mentality. And I would overextend myself. I didn't learn my boundaries with work. As you guys kind of heard, like I kind of blend everything. It's like a life mission. And I had to learn the value of rest and boundaries. And just from years and years of burnout, I've learned, how to calibrate, which has helped prevent that from happening. So it's been a while since I've experienced it, but it happened for a long time before I made the adjustments.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. A big part of it for me was definitely fitting my career around family. That's always kind of been the big focus. So between school hours, it's easy in terms of that's when I'm free. And also early mornings work okay. I don't do anything really after 5 p.m. at night. My clients are all booked in within that daytime. So that's really what works around for me is school and then school pickups and drop-offs.
Yeah. No,
Oh
that
man,
makes sense.
so interesting. I mean, I think I've had this session with my students too about like understanding kind of what's your reservoir for how much you can handle clientele with people. And I've noticed that, and some people, they get into the industry and they think they have this cup that's really full and that I could work with 10 people a day, 11 people a day. And then it's like, nope, I could do 2, 3 people a day. And you don't often really know that until you get in the business and see it. Like I have a really high tolerance and reservoir. I could work 9, 10 people a day. But then I have other colleagues who are like 4 people are my max per day for that. And I think we don't think about that enough is what could I actually do? And how does that impact your financial capability for that or your model for your business? I always thought that was an interesting thing. You don't really kind of know often when you're starting,
Yeah.
It depends on the type of client.
This is true.
I know you guys feel me on that.
Yeah, let's think about this. This is a good topic to get into.
Yeah.
We have those clients that require a lot of our energy, and then we have clients that actually fuel us, So it just really depends on the personnel.
I think that's so honestly such good advice to just bring up and talk about to people that are first kind of dipping their toe into the fitness industry. Because when I first started, you're taking any client that is gonna pay you. And a lot of times those clients did not really align with anyone that would really be giving energy to me. They were very combative over like how I wanted to train them. I'm big on mobility and injury prevention and training as like a holistic, like full body. You want to be doing this in your 60s and keep moving and stuff like that. And a lot of people are they want the here and now and they want to get fit right here, right now. And they don't really see that you're locking in for the next 9 months type of thing. It's like, no, I'm here for 2 months because I got to go to Bora Bora. And so, I think that, and that was like pretty discouraging for me in the beginning, because I was like, am I going to just be fighting people this whole time, tooth and nail, until they see what I can do? Because I wasn't willing to change how I trained, because I was like, I don't have expertise in whatever else they want to do. Like, this is what I can offer you. And it was, discouraging to the point where I was like, dude, maybe I don't want to do this. But then I found that I had that one client that everything like kind of clicked. And I'm not saying to never take on the combative client, because those are really the clients that really need you. And I, so I guess I'm curious on how, I guess, you balance then that, like, do you have those feelings of like, I don't think I can take on this client? Or also, and just to, I guess, finish my first thought, if you're new and listening to this, like, you can find your clients, like you can find your market fit type of thing. It's like, you're just finding your space and place in this industry. So don't get discouraged if it's like a lot of energy that's being taken away. Like, you will find where you fit. But for both of you, I'd love to kind of learn about how you deal. Do you stack like certain days? Like, all right, I can't deal with Julia at 6 a.m. Like, that's the energy. I can't do that. I got to start out with my golden egg and golden child at 6 a.m. and then work from there. I'm curious how you schedule
I
that.
love that, Caroline. Great.
I certainly don't have as many clients as Rob does, so I have fewer. So it's easier for me to kind of schedule what fits around, like say, the family and my lifestyle, but also what suits me in terms of when I can deal. I think it's easier for me to have clients earlier in the week too, rather than say stack them on a Friday afternoon. Earlier in the week is better. But when you were saying about new personal trainers, I was like that. You just took whoever you could. Whoever was keen to sign up with me, it's like, yeah, let's go, let's try it out. But then that's, I guess, the beauty of having done it for a while, and age comes and wisdom comes. You don't have to take everyone in terms of, if you really know or get that feel that it's not going to work with that person, I think as out of respect for both parties, you don't have to sign each other up and say, no, I don't think this is going to work. But potentially refer them to another client who could be a better, another personal trainer who could be a better fit for them, because you want it to work for your client and you want it to work for yourself.
Yeah.
If it's not going to, I wouldn't even go there. So you can start to be selective, but you don't have to take on everyone.
Yeah,
That's great.
I think for advice for new trainers, I think self-awareness is key, right? Knowing your capacity, knowing what rubs you wrong, what you have the patience for and what you don't, is key. And putting yourself in position to where you don't have to take on every client, right? We live in a day and age where you can build leverage by building a personal brand, right? And positioning yourself in a way where you don't have that urgency, right? You've established yourself through other means. It may not have been through personal training experience, but if you built a social media imprint, you have a little bit more wiggle room there, right? But I think I learned a lot from difficult clients. So not to completely avoid, the challenge of difficult clients, but doing it on your terms.
Yeah, most definitely. And I like the self-awareness part too. And I'm going to add to the self-awareness part, and the self-awareness of your energy with clients. I would think about difficult clients, but you may not understand that you're the difficult trainer. And that may be why you're struggling with clients, because you're killing the energy with the clients, not the client.
Totally.
And I have seen that a lot of trainers are not aware of their own energy in their presentation with people. And they go, I can't get people. I'm struggling. Like, I've said, but maybe you haven't done a self-evaluation of you and what you bring to the business.
Yeah.
That I think is not discussed as much.
Yeah, oftentimes our clients are reflections of us. I've experienced that. So sometimes what you're seeing in them that's irritating is something that you're irritated with in yourself.
That's so true.
I think there's like a little ego as well. Like when I was starting out, I was frustrated that like I was like, I know what they need to do to improve, and like they either didn't want to do it or weren't receptive to it. And I was like, if you just do this like 4 times a week like I do, you'll be fine. And you kind of have to get over that and realize like you have to meet people where they're at. And I learned that. We all learned that, but I know there's some people that don't learn that, and they kind of project their own preferences in the in training regimens, and they try to kind of impress that on the client. But yeah, it's really so individual.
But I find it's so much easier to kind of go with meet them halfway. Obviously, we want to keep them safe, right? We want to keep them safe. But I've had clients who they're like, man, I just don't like doing this. I'm like, okay, let's stretch and go play basketball. You know, if that's what you want to do in the beginning, all right, I'm really big on, especially for someone who's new to exercise, I want to make the experience as pleasant as possible. Right. So figuring out the middle ground has always been effective for me.
Totally. And the sessions aren't about us as trainers, it's about the client.
Yeah.
And so after each session, I just find myself thinking about, how did that session go? Did I focus on the client enough? Did it go as well as it could have? What didn't go so well? I think it's important, even as we are experienced trainers, to always reflect on that session. Did I do as well as I could have?
Right. I do have definitely another question kind of on, and it just came to my head that someone gave me this advice and I totally forgot about it until right now. And I'm glad it didn't stick with me, but someone told me when I was kind of in that in-between stage of when I was in construction, I was working part-time as a personal trainer. They were like, you have to go full-time because no one's going to take you seriously as a part-time trainer. And I was like, I did not think that was a possibility. And in my head, I was like, I thought that they might like feel more relatable because I know what it's like to work that, like for me, it was like 7 to 5 instead of that 9 to 5. But I like understand that struggle of like working out and all of that. So I'm curious, Maria, as like being a part-time trainer, have you ever felt, or has anyone ever like kind of, and I know within the industry, of course, we kind of already touched on that, but outside of the industry with your clients, do you ever mention that you're a part-time trainer? Do they know you're a part-time trainer? Does that make them feel like you're less available or anything like that?
I've never promoted myself as a part-time trainer, so that's never kind of come across to anyone as far as I'm aware, and no one's mentioned it to me. No, I don't think it restricts me at all in terms of any clients that I can get. I would still have access to as many people who might need my services. I think having the gym helps to get me out there in that sense to all of my clients. They know that I'm available, but I also promote myself as a mobile personal trainer. So a lot of my clients, I go to them as well into their homes. So I think that's quite an attractive niche thing, is that I am a mobile personal trainer. I go to them. So really trying to meet the needs of the clients, whether it's part-time or full-time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Love that.
How was the advice you got? Like they said no one would take you seriously or that?
Yeah. Yeah, they told me to,
Was it a full-time trainer that told you that?
I've never heard anyone ask, are you full-time or are you part-time?
A gym owner, okay.
Yeah. And I will say they did want me to work for them. So
I was gonna
like
say,
maybe
that's
also
okay.
there is some bias there.
They were staring you into
So
because they knew you're such a good trainer. They wanted you there full-time.
Yeah. And so that definitely was something I remember them saying, and I totally had a panic attack. And thank goodness, truly thank goodness, my mom is in the industry, and I was like, they said this, and my mom's like, no,
Listen
don't listen to that. And she also was like, don't quit your job. People job.
Robert, I'm curious, is there anything that would make you switch from full-time to part-time, or like you're always sticking full-time? That's all you want to do.
Delegation, so I could just relax on the beach a little bit more. You know, so no, it's started as just like a passion and the mission. It's now a business that I'm building a team around, and you know, I eventually want to pivot a little bit to speaking, and I want to write a book, and I want to do all of those type of things. So I guess eventually I will be part-time. But yeah, that's the plan.
That's awesome.
Nice. That's cool. I mean, again, it's like making that impact, not necessarily through training one-on-one clients, but continuing to like share wellness and fitness
Absolutely.
information.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, scaling your
Right.
knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
how to reach more people. Because sometimes some people might not have the availability to hire a personal trainer, join your
Mhm.
services, but they may be able to go to one of your talks or read your
Mhm.
book. So that's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. I'm actually preparing myself to be part-time when I'm in my 60s. I'm 47 now, and eventually I don't want to stop training ever because I really enjoy it and working with people. Because I always got into the business. Fitness was just a reason for me to develop relationships with people. It was just like, oh, this is
Mm.
undivided
Mhm.
time I get with someone, which proved to be
Mm.
really kind of prescient because I think the future of our business is undivided time with people where they're not distracted
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
that. And
Yeah.
I always want to have that space in my life where we're not on the phone with each other, on someone's on their phone or they're distracted with just that human to human thing together. But I do see myself doing less of it over time when I'm in my 60s and just so I could just have other things I want to do with my life with that. And it also kind of speaks to the fact that maybe part time and full time is really just dependent on where you're at in your life. Like Maria, you were saying
Mhm.
about, your
Yeah.
family and stuff. And maybe if you're
Mhm.
younger, you're just grinding, you're trying to scale and get to, you want to be full, whatever it is. But maybe, to
Mhm.
my students who will watch this, is that depending on where you're at in your life may actually determine whether you're part time or full time. Not necessarily just, I just want to do this, but there's maybe just a lot of circumstances that are pushing you in that direction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 And
Maria,
yeah,
with
go
your
ahead.
gym, oh, sorry, Julia.
No, you're good.
With like the gym that you're at, do you
Mhm.
notice that other trainers at your gym are leaning into the full time or are they part time? Like, is there a mix or anything like that?
Mm. No, a lot of our trainers are part-time, definitely
Oh,
part-time.
yeah.
One of them actually is a school teacher, and she comes and does classes after her
Mhm.
school day.
Oh,
Comes
wow.
along and does
Awesome.
classes
That's
for us. So
awesome.
no, we're definitely more part-time. Yeah.
Very cool.
She must be exhausted by the end of the day. She deals with kids all day, and then she deals
I
with.
don't know if I can
I'm
work with
sure
a
her
bunch of
clients are
kids and be
lovely,
training.
but
Yeah.
Could
a
not.
lot of like social energy to expend
Yes.
in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. A lot of respect for that. I got to tell you.
A lot of
Yeah.
respect. Yeah, the introvert in me is like,
Robert, a lot of our colleagues, do you notice the colleagues that you talk to that are trainers? Do you
Mm.
notice if they're full time, part time? Had those discussions?
Most of the trainers at the gym that I attend or that have worked at in the past have been part-time trainers. Yeah. And I notice the people who aspire to be full-time that I've come in contact with, they aspire to have their own gyms or their own businesses in some way, right? So that's kind of the next step from part-time. They spend a little time full-time, but then the goal is to be on their own.
Yeah.
So yeah, but most of the trainers I know are part-time trainers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
And so I have a yoga background as well. And a lot of the teachers that I know, a lot of them are also part time. So I feel that also plays a role into it. Because when you are, I think private yoga is becoming a bit more mainstream, where people are coming to an individual's house and they're doing one-on-one sessions. But for a while it was really only like in studio. And you can only teach so many classes in a day. Like there is a limit to how much you can do. And that is very energy intensive because you're like teaching like 20 people at a time. So I do find that definitely people who are like group fitness leaders tend to be part-time as well, like mainly part-time because it's just you can't make that, like, can't afford rent, unfortunately, doing that. Yeah.
Mm.
No,
Yeah. I take group classes at my gym as well. And it's a performance every time. You
Yeah.
have to be on, you have to be, you've got to know
Mhm.
what you're doing. You can't wing it.
Yeah.
So that I find that pretty tiring, the group
Yeah.
classes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
Yeah,
that's
I
true.
taught group. Yeah.
I ran a club for almost 11 years and I hired tons of trainers. And I would say probably 90% of them were part time. Very
Mhm.
few of them
Mhm.
ascended to full time for that. But I actually thought they really enjoyed being part time. Most of them,
Yeah.
they did other things they wanted to do.
Mhm.
So I thought it was interesting. I'd be interested what the statistics are. I would guess that the majority of our industry is part time people. That's my
Mhm.
Oh,
guess.
yeah.
I don't know for
I'd say,
sure, but I'm thinking there's probably mostly part time workers, which is really important
yeah.
then to lift the industry up.
Yeah.
And I would say full
Yeah.
time is probably less common, I would imagine. Because I even in my
Mm.
time, I haven't met a lot of full time trainers. So like Robert was great when you're like, oh, I'm full time. I'm like, I don't know a lot of
Yeah.
people like you, or like
Mhm.
Yeah.
myself.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
it feels
I mean, but
rare.
you're not seeing any listings on Monster for salaried full-time
Yeah.
trainer
Right.
positions, so it's
Yeah.
not the
Totally.
most secure profession,
Yeah.
so
And
yeah.
Mm.
I think I'm curious, for both of you. Obviously, you don't have to say how much you charge or anything like that, but is there a pay difference, or have you like scaled differently as a full time versus as a part time? Is there any kind of difference in the pricing? Not that there should be, or like
Mm.
whatever, but have you noticed that being part time, it's like, okay, my time is like super valuable because I only have X amount of hours,
Mhm.
in that mindset, or being full time, you're like, this is my full time gig, like you're getting everything. I'm curious.
I haven't thought about it in terms of, like you say, my time is super important or
Yeah.
valuable because I'm part time. It's not like that. It's still
Yeah.
just based on that, say, that rate. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I do is a little different.
Yeah.
Like I have a few one-on-one
Mm.
coaching clients that pay me a yearly, like we have a
Right.
yearly package.
Yeah.
And so, and my group coaching program was created because I wanted to have something that was more affordable and accessible for more people, since my one-on-one rates were out of a lot of people's ranges.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking now at this stage of my journey, like scalability, right?
Totally.
Being able to serve as many people, at an affordable price point and like leverage time. It's like, it only costs me 3 hours a week to run my group coaching program,
Yeah.
but it does pretty well. So yeah, that's kind of my situation.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm. That's a
I like
great
that.
question, Caroline. I appreciate that was a really good one because
Mm.
I think that
Mm.
obviously you could have another episode on pricing. That could be
Yeah.
Oh,
a
yeah.
big
I was
episode,
scared
right?
to
I
even
think
bring it up.
I think a
To go
lot of
down.
we got to do that episode
Yeah.
about pricing because I
We
think it's going to
should.
be really
Mm.
interesting because
There's so
like
many
no one
thoughts.
wants to talk about it, or they're just like, no, I don't want to talk
Right.
about my
Yeah.
rates and stuff. But I mean, you're getting paid, so
Mhm.
This is
there
your
is
job.
Yeah.
this is
You're an
your
expert.
job. Like it's funny. I
Yeah.
had a colleague one time, and the big equipment vendor. This was when I was running a club, and he would always come to all the different clubs we had, and he goes, "What is it with personal trainers and money? I mean, it's like talking
Mm.
about money and afraid to tell people stuff." He's like, "I'm in business, man. I always talk about it, and
Yeah.
there's just
Yeah.
something to that. I feel
Mm.
like we don't want to talk about it for some reason.
What's the going rate for a one-on-one in-person session nowadays? Like, I mean, I don't know, ballpark average from what you guys have seen.
New York City is
Yeah.
pretty expensive. But okay, so I have a lot of thoughts and theories on it. I charge $120 an hour
Mhm.
for a session if I were to do a
Mhm.
session. Um and yeah, that's what I would do, and that's in New Jersey. It also depends on, like, do I have to travel for this? Am I I don't know, stuff like that. Like, where am I going? Do I have to Uber? Do I have public transportation? Like, that all goes into it.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
they're coming to me, if I'm like, or if we're meeting at a general location,
Mhm.
I think that all plays into it. But yeah, I typically charge around like 120 an hour.
But there's trainers that charge 200 plus in New York as like private trainers.
yeah.
Like, that's
Well,
yeah, probably more. So it really depends on where you are geographically, and like
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think some people just like go for it. They're like, I think some people just have more confidence isn't the right word,
Yeah.
but I think like the knowing what you're worth is a hard topic, and that's like another thing that we can talk about
Mhm.
separately,
A
maybe.
great
But I
topic.
think
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's the discussion of, because then there's a lot of trainers that I've seen who have a lot of followers,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they equate that to value as far as, oh, you should pay me a lot because I have a lot of
Right.
followers, but what's your expertise like?
Yeah.
That's really what I want to pay
thing
you
is,
for.
they can get away with that oftentimes.
Yeah.
Because even
Right,
if there's a
because of the
better trainer,
followership.
that
Yeah.
better
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a complicated.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a huge why for why Julia and I started working together. This
Yeah.
exact topic.
Mhm.
Because of that, I have unfortunately so many funny little side quest stories to my unfortunate demise. But my one, I did this whole like business coaching thing and like the personal training. It was a scam, whatever. We've talked about it on a previous
Yeah.
podcast before. But they told me to charge people like $3,000, like $1,000 a month, and then $3,000 for like 3 months, but get that $3,000 up front, for online.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
that and listen, there is, I'm sure, value, and some people are doing that, but definitely for what I was offering, I was like, this is not worth $1,000. 500, 100, like I think that is like super for sure, like with what I was offering them. But they're like, they didn't even ask what I was offering. They're like, no, just ask for 1,000. I was like,
You're like,
I'm
I
not
don't
even
care
meeting
what
with
you're
them.
doing. Just do this. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
$3,000 per client. I was like,
There's a range for sure.
yeah.
Mm.
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh man, I got to tell you, I think
Oh, we lost
Um,
you.
sorry,
you
man.
are.
You know, someone called me. You know, I hate when people call me when I'm trying to do stuff. All right, come on. I'm like, but I want to say just thank you both for giving us some of your time. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it. I mean, from New Zealand, I mean, to Virginia Beach, to New York City, to Colorado. What an awesome time, and what a really like rich conversation of a lot of different
Mm.
topics. I think we have our marching orders for some few topics coming up here, our next topic. So
Yeah.
when we put out a call for people, I think we're not going to have an issue for that. So
Yeah.
Maria and Bricks, if you want to just sign us off a little bit about where people can connect with you, because again, some of my students may want to reach out to you as they hear your story and learn more about you. Please let them know how.
Yeah, sure.
After you, man.
You go, Rob.
No. I was saying after you, please.
I'm on Facebook, Maria Pearson Coaching, and also I'm on LinkedIn, Maria Pearson. I think it's Maria Pearson 2023 on
Awesome.
those two places. One other comment I was just going to make before I finish was one client said to me recently, look, I hope you understand the impact that you make in my life. She has 4 kids, little kids, and she said it doesn't just stop with me. It impacts my family. It impacts my friends. I can show up for my family and friends because you show up for me. And I thought, wow, that's amazing to hear that. So
I love that.
That's
Yeah.
yummy. Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really yummy.
You guys can follow me on all platforms at Bricks Glover, BRIX Glover, like Danny.
Nice.
nice.
Yeah, and I'm on YouTube at Bricks. Yeah, BRIX Fitness.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you to my co-hosts, Julia and Caroline, 2 wonderful people, and was so excited that they wanted to do this with me, this Trainer Talk series. So thank you, everyone. And I look forward to getting this out to a bunch of people to help them out. Have a good
Great.
one.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
All
much.
right.
Later,
Okay.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.